Here with head coach Luke of the CCHA Championship this weekend, and you get to play it at home. In your opinion, what are the biggest differences between the way that your guys play and the way that St. Thomas plays, or maybe similarities?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their own identity, and so St. Thomas is dangerous. I can tell you that. Like, you get on the wrong side of things, they'll make you pay for it. I just think their whole team game, like their record, they were picked to win the thing for a reason. Their record along the way was probably a hiccup here or there, an injury, along the way that cost them some time, but they're playing really good hockey. Our games have been good. At the same time, like just personnel wise, like they've got some potent players.
A couple of guys that got CCHA weekly honors this week that haven't gotten it so far this year. What are the impact of Adam Isley and Ralph Spurmanis on your team this year?
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, Ralphie is about as consistent a customer as you get. Week in, week out, doesn't matter the opponent, doesn't matter the score. You're going to get Ralphie. He's a winner. He's hard to play against. I think you find him. He does a lot more than maybe what meets the eye. And then Eyes is. I think he should be praised for his consistency. Like, he's had different wingers. Everyone's like, oh, he plays with Pitt, and those aren't the easiest guys always to play with either. So you've got to be. You can't put a dud with studs and try to make it a line. So he's handled that well. And he's a big body that gets rewarded. It's that time of year for big bodies to get to the net.
Open it up for some questions here. Kevin Dudley with his hand raised.
Luke, excuse me, you're always playing for a lot at this time of year, but given the unique circumstance with a berth in the tournament clinched, is there anything about your preparation that looks different, maybe even on the mental side, about trying to get guys refocused for a CCHA championship game that comes with kind of some bizarre / different stakes this weekend?
There probably is, Kev, in regard to, an outcome for NCAA wise is there, but it's kind of been our guys' MO to be mature and present and really in the focus in the moment where they're at. You turn back the page a few weeks back, the McNaughton time, and we still had to close out with Bemidji at the end of the season at home, and I really liked our guys' response to, even though things were nothing necessarily on the line, their ability to go out and play and be passionate about what we do and playing for the logo, play for the community, and play for the opportunity to be a champion. That's these guys come here every day to win. So I have faith that our guys will be in that mode.
Jack Hittinger, USCHO. Jack, go ahead.
Hey, Luke, just sort of adding on to that, obviously, both teams want to win a trophy, and I know that's an important thing anytime you can win some hardware. To that effect, obviously, you guys know that's, I don't want to say you want to look forward, but you want to be rested and well ready for the NCAA tournaments. I mean, but you still planning on playing everybody, and I'm sure everyone wants to go full speed. But what are your thoughts on that with, like Kevin said, the sort of unique situation here and how you're going to approach playing?
Yeah, I think if I asked our guys not to play, I would get a they wouldn't be welcome to the idea. So no, there's still growth. I mean, we're still showing signs that we grow in some areas, and I think pressure moments are good for guys to go through. And when, to your point, the trophy's on the line, that's a coveted prize. The Mason Cup has got a rich history and hard to handle and hard to get, and we want to make sure we're still moving forward with things.
Other questions for Coach? Yeah,
How
Kevin.
big is this game in terms? Oh, I'm sorry. How big is this game in terms of seeding for the NCAA tournament for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some of that on the line. I would think, winners of others and in other leagues and those are all outcomes we don't control. But yeah, you'd think that there'd be some wherever we would enter the tournament at what number, and it doesn't seem to matter how much we've won, and we haven't really upticked and separated our differential between wins and losses. So I don't. I mean, as much as we're probably thinking about it, the tournament's going to come, and that's going to be awesome. But whoever we play there is going to be whoever we play there, and somebody else is going to tell us where and when and who. It won't be us.
Yeah, Kevin.
You're obviously very familiar with everybody in the CCHA, including St. Thomas. Is there any temptation? Are you fighting a temptation, or is it a thing you're actively trying to do in terms of maybe looking ahead at some of the teams you could potentially play, and looking at this as you have maybe just a smidgen of extra time to prepare for a new opponent in the national tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think behind the scenes as a staff, that's been probably 3 weeks now, pending. Getting into some games and cutting some other opponents along the way. It's kind of a huge library right now, which we like to have on hand here. Anyways, you get to see other teams that are playing well and good teams across the country. Are there any nuances, something they're doing? So we do it on a pretty regular basis here as a staff. But there's some forecasting, but to that point, it's so far-fetched to who and where. But I'm confident that our staff will be prepared on that end of things.
Scott Nelson.
Luke, 23 months ago, you step onto campus. Did you see this path and where you're at now? Was this where you thought it would be when you got here? Are you where you want to be in your tenure? And then I have a follow-up as well.
Well, selfishly, I wish 12 months ago we would have been here. You're at that point. You do the work, and I was able to hire a remarkable staff that works their tail off, and not only in the present but the development of players, what they're going to turn into, the recruiting, the guys that have come in the door. I think a big part of it, Scott, was a year ago. It had our culture maybe be set in stone with this many 2-year plus guys. I'm probably confident we're playing right now. A year ago, that's the beauty. I think when you get some stability and you get a couple of years of togetherness, that the guys are extremely bought in. So, yeah, you'd want to play in the tournament, and we're fortunate. But I do think the guys that came in and the staff that are here have done a really good job to make sure that this came at this time, and we just got to keep moving forward.
And my follow-up, you mentioned culture, Luke. Minnesota State as a whole, the culture of this department, what's that like to be a part of on a daily basis from your staff side?
Yeah, for me, it's remarkable. I've been in some other institutions where there's not nearly the togetherness. I love to go to a football game and cheer on Hoff, and to go to the men's and women's basketball games and cheer on their staff and their players, the togetherness of the athletes. But I would just say I think winning breeds winning. A year ago you're watching men's and women's win the national championship in basketball. You're watching soccer go to the last game and then in the final. And football's great run this year. And track has got Olympic athletes and national championships. And I just think winning breeds winning. And I would tell you day in, day out for a coach to be a part of a staff and institution, and I'd run it all the way up to President Inch on that side of things, that athletics is kind of a window to the world, and I really feel that part of even a decision to want to be here as a job was a huge factor, because it makes it a really special place, the bond and the togetherness. And I love getting notes from other coaches on big games and events and timing, and it goes all the way around. And that part is really a really neat endeavor of the school.
Time for a couple more. Mr. Limbeck.
Yeah, Zach Kranig has played a big role as a goal scorer for you guys during the season. How much of a factor has he been through for you in the playoffs and throughout the whole season for you?
Yeah, Karaji is unbelievable as far as I think when you get around him as a human, his consistency to come out and get better, his desire to watch video and find out different things he can change and improve and really build on in his own game, let alone watching others. But he's got rewarded for playing an honest, correct game. And when you're a coach, when you get those players, you're fortunate because not everyone can do it as well as he plays an honest game. And the reward for scoring goals is because of, I think, just a culmination of those. And he probably, had he cashed in on a few of the, I love the kid to death, but a few of the breakaways this year, he'd probably be putting at a higher number of goals. But he's been just a really good player. He's one of our captains. You can see why. His demeanor to get better is really high.
Jack Hittinger, last one.
Yeah, just had a question. Just going back to the game this weekend, thinking about St. Thomas and how looking at the stats, probably two of the top scoring teams in the league playing against each other, but at the same time, two of the best goalies. Obviously, Trace is the best in the league, but Seibel's been playing really well down the stretch here. What kind of game are you sort of expecting? Are you expecting a high-scoring game, or would you expect some more of a tight check-in 1-0, 2-1 type game in a playoffs type atmosphere for this one?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't keep them in check, the score is going to get inflated because they can score. I think they've got that top group of Gleason and Walling and Malmquist have been. Those are a lot of 5-on-5 goals they've scored along the way. So you better be mindful of their D jump in the play. And my guess, Rico does a really good job with their team. They're going to be plenty prepared. My guess it's a tight game, and that's how it's been for 2 years here against one another. But if there's a crack in the door, they can score. So we want to make sure we're on guard and put ourselves in those situations for ourselves to do things properly and get rewarded for it.
We can do one more. Kevin Dudley.
I just wanted to ask one about Kranick. Sometimes not scoring goals can be something that I feel like can translate into other areas of the game. Maybe the way a guy is even carrying himself. Just talk about his positivity for maybe someone who doesn't know him, and in the way that he was able to not let the lack of scoring during the regular season impact in any other part of his game or the way he carried himself around the building.
Yeah, it's when you know Krajci, like he's got a smirk and a smile and a pep in his step. I think he brings that to everyone around. He's very. I think the other emotional intelligence about the kid, he knows when someone else isn't maybe at that same level that he is, and he's a quick one to get to them. And I think at the end of the day, for Kraj, like his team value is so high. So he should be confident the way he walks around here and what he's got to say, because he does things more times than not right the first time. And those are the guys that really carry a lot of weight in the room. And the stat line is going to be one thing, but you see him as a penalty killer. He's one of the first ones over the boards every time. You see him in 5-6 scenarios. Anything that's got high responsibility, accountability, he's an easy one to want to put out as a coach.
Well, the puck drops at 7:07 on Friday night here in Mankato. Thank you for joining us on the call. Thank you, Coach Luke, for joining us, and good luck.
Thanks.